probably know Dead Rising for the sheer chaotic fun of being let loose in a shopping mall to fight zombies with anything you can find. That fun is the game's biggest selling point, but have you ever noticed that it is also a masterful distraction? Hiding underneath the absurdity of mowing down zombies with a lawnmower is a surprisingly dark political thriller. This is the story of a massive government conspiracy and the two agents who were sent to clean it up. They believe they're heroes on a mission to save their country, but they were actually just pawns, sent to die to protect a terrible secret. Their story isn't about surviving a zombie apocalypse, it's about being betrayed by the very system they swore an oath to protect. Think back to the middle of the Willamette Mall disaster. Two DHS agents, Brad Garrison and Jessie McCarney, who were fighting for their lives. But did you realize that they were fighting much more than just zombies? They were confronting a system that viewed them as acceptable losses. This is a story of how one agent, Brad, clung to his humanity, while the other, Jessie, clung to the rules. It's a story of how both of them ended up on the same tragic path, a path that ended with them being sacrificed for a truth they were never meant to discover. To really understand their story, you have to know that before they even set foot into the mall, their mission was compromised. The Willamette outbreak wasn't a random event, it was a blowback. It was the ghost of a past sin, and that sin had a name, Santa Cabeza. Now, if you don't remember, this was a small Central American town that housed a secret U.S. government research facility. Officially, they told everyone that they were studying cattle. But the truth, as you know, it always is in Dead Rising, was far darker. A team of scientists led by Dr. Barnaby was experimenting with a parasitic wasp to enhance cattle production. Instead of creating bigger cows, they unleashed a plague. When the parasites inevitably escaped, the entire town was lost. America's response wasn't a rescue mission, it was a cover-up. The military was sent in to erase all evidence, and I mean everyone, man, woman, and child. The official story? They blame cartel violence, but two people survived, Carlito and Isabella Keys. They carried the truth and a burning need for revenge all the way to Willamette, Colorado. So you see, Carlito, the man who orchestrates the mall outbreak, wasn't a simple terrorist. He was a survivor trying to expose a crime the US committed and then buried. This is a situation Brad and Jessie walked into. As DHS agents, their primary objective is to locate and extract Dr. Barnaby, but they have a second unofficial mission, to ensure the truth never gets out. From the moment you arrive, you see DHS already controlling the narrative, jamming cell signals so no one can call for help, or more importantly, leak what's really happening. Brad and Jessie believe they're on a mission to protect their country. In reality, they're the cleanup crew sent to contain a disaster their own government created. Remember Brad Garrison? He's the first agent we meet, and he immediately shatters the mold of a cold government suit. This guy is a field agent who trusts his gut instincts above all else. You can tell right away he's a good man trapped in a hellish situation.
What's to do when I get close?
From the very beginning, his priority is clear: protect innocent lives. He's the one you see guiding survivors to the security room, constantly putting himself on the line. His sense of duty goes way beyond his official orders. Initially, Brad despises Frank, calling him a hot-headed, underhanded, hotshot paparazzi. He just sees a guy chasing a story, not an ally. But after you, as Frank, save him during the gunfight with Carlito, Brad's perspective completely flips. He starts to see Frank's stubborn pursuit not as opportunism, but as a genuine search for the truth. A search Brad shares. He makes a choice. He trusts the civilian. He tells Frank the details of his mission, a clear violation of a protocol, because he understands that in a catastrophe like this, the old rules don't apply. His loyalty shifts from the DHS playbook to saving lives. But this is where it gets tragic. This very humanity that makes Brad such an effective agent is also what seals his fate. He gets shot fighting Carlito and then the wound worsens over time. But does he stop? No. He keeps searching for Dr. Barnaby, protecting survivors, and confronting Carlito one last time to stop him from blowing up the mall. That final selfless act costs him everything. When Frank finds him later in the maintenance tunnels, he's alone and has already turned. Now he's one of the monsters he fought so hard against. In a final twist of irony, even as a zombie, he guards the path forward, a gatekeeper to the truth that he died to uncover. His death isn't a blaze of glory, it's quiet and lonely, a direct result of a conscience that wouldn't let him back down. He was a good soldier who died because he chose to be a good man. Now, if Brad was the team's heart, then you have to see Jessie McCarney as its brain. She's the agent who lives by the book. Where Brad operates on gut feelings, Jessie is professional, methodical, and fiercely loyal to the chain of command. Remember her? Stationed in the security room, she was that steady voice on the intercom trying to coordinate the response from a sterile bubble of monitors and radios. She was an absolute faith in the system, believing that HQ is working on a plan and that following the rules is the key to survival. While Brad is out there on the front lines breaking protocol, Jessie stays glued to her post. She expertly interrogates Isabella, processes intel, and desperately tries to get a line to the government. Her faith in her superiors is just unwavering. Do you remember that the moment when she finally secures an emergency channel to DHS headquarters? You can hear the relief in her voice. The system worked. Help is on its way, or so she thought. In a single soul-crushing transmission, her entire world shatters. The voice on the other end isn't sending a rescue party. It's delivering a death sentence. The government has initiated a total cover-up. Special forces are on the way, not for extraction, but for a cleanup. A cold clinical term for executing every survivor. In that moment, Jessie finally understands. There were never people to be saved. There were loose ends to be tied up. When you, as Frank, return to the security room, you walk into a nightmare. The other survivors are gone and Jessie is slumped against a monitor. She explains that she was scratched by Dr. Barnaby after he turned, knowing there is no cure, no rescue, and no hope. She simply gives up. Her death is the tragic punchline to her unwavering loyalty. She was abandoned by the system she served so perfectly and followed every rule, only to be left for dead. So let's step back and look at this. Brad Garrison and Jessie McCarney represent two different responses to the same broken system. Think of them as two sides of a coin, minted by Homeland Security and spent inside the Willamette Mall. Both were dedicated agents, both were betrayed, and ultimately both were sacrificed. Brad's path was defiance. He chose his humanity over protocol. You saw him collaborate with a civilian, prioritizing saving lives over protecting secrets and fighting for the truth even when it made him an enemy of his own government. His death was violent, the price he paid for refusing to stand down. Brad was like the gear in the machine that refused to turn, so the machine simply broke him. Jessie's path, on the other hand, was compliance. She played her faith in the institution and in the belief that her loyalty would be rewarded. She performed her duties exactly as she was trained, maintaining order and trusted her superiors. Her death was a quiet surrender. When the system she believed in revealed its true cold face, she didn't fight back. She was just a sword bite. Now imagine her as the gear that turned perfectly right up until the machine ground her down to nothing. Isn't it tragic that their different choices led them to the exact same outcome? They were silenced. Brad, the agent who cared too much, was eliminated. Jessie, the loyal agent, was abandoned. For the system, both outcomes were a victory. 2 agents who knew too much were neutralized, and the truth was contained. Their deaths weren't a tragedy to people in charge, they were just the cost of doing business. When you really think about it, the story of Brad and Jessie is the truth hidden message of Dead Rising. It's a warning that the most terrifying monsters aren't always the ones with rotting flesh, but sometimes they wear the suits and they write the official reports. The real horror of Willamette, then, isn't just zombie outbreak. It's the cold, heartless system that allowed it to happen, and then methodically erased anyone who knew the truth, including its own people. Brad Garrison died because he was a hero. Jessie McCarney died because she believed she was serving a heroic cause. In the end, they were both wrong. They were tools used and then disregarded by the system that demanded their silence one way or another. Their tragedy is a stark reminder for all of us that while loyalty is a virtue, blind loyalty to a corrupt system is a death sentence. They weren't just casualties of a zombie apocalypse, they were sacrifices on the altar of government secrecy. So I have to ask you, what do you think? Was Brad right to rebel and follow his conscience? Or can you understand why Jessie put her faith into the system? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoy these deep dives into the hidden narratives of your favorite games, you know what to do. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe button for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll be here in the next video. Peace, and I'll see y'all next time.